What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Wide Eye Sports Podcast. We got Riley over here. We got Spoon over here. And we have one heck of a jam-packed episode for y'all today. We're going to go over a debate of who has the better roster, the Bears or the Texans, because somebody, not going to say any names here, but somebody...
Don't point at me.
Somebody...
he keeps pointing.
Yeah. I keep pointing
the wrong
That
way.
one was on purpose, though. That one was like a fake out. So that one was supposed to be. The first one was completely accidental. But anyways, Riley brought up a few weeks ago that he thought the Bears have a better roster than the Texans. We disagreed, so we're going to debate that. And then the whole second half of the episode, we're going to go over who has had the best situation coming into the NFL of a rookie quarterback drafted within the top 12 picks of the NFL draft. So top 12 picks, who had the best situation, not who had the best rookie year, who had the best situation coming into the draft. We're going to get into all of that, plus so much more right after the credits. All right, guys. So let's get right into this. So we're gonna do Bears Texans first. We're gonna look at the whole shit shebang. We're gonna go over it all. Okay. So here's how I broke it down. We did. Oh, what?
I was gonna say I'm just Switzerland over here. I'm just gonna
easy.
I'm just gonna pick. Okay. You guys have the arguments, and I'll just be like, yeah, this guy's better. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Spoon's a neutral third party. This is good. I think the Bears roster is nowhere near as good as the Texans by my notes even. So here's how I broke it down on my end. I went 3 quarterbacks for each team, 2 running backs, 5 receivers, 2 tight ends, the 5 starting linemen, 3 D linemen, 2 D ends and a D tackle, 1 linebacker, 2 cornerbacks, 2 safeties, their kicker, and their head coach. All right, Riley, do you want me to go ahead and go through what I have step by step here?
Let's take it position by position.
Position by position. All right,
and
so I have quarterbacks.
Start wherever you want quarterbacks.
I'm going to start top of the list. We're going to go QBs, okay? So my Texans quarterback room is CJ Stroud, Case Keenum, and Davis Mills. All guys who have had success as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Now, Davis Mills is the asterisk there, right? Yeah. He had a good rookie season and was seen as a hopeful, didn't perform as well as they wanted to in his second season. Therefore, CJ Stroud is there now, who is probably the best young quarterback in the league. I think we can agree. And then for the Bears, I have Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, and Brett Ripken.
Who?
And I think Brett Ripken.
Who?
Exactly. So I think the Texans win this position group 3-0. I think they 3-0 this position group. Case Keenum is a former conference championship game level quarterback. Davis Mills is a former starter. And CJ Stroud is probably the best young quarterback in the NFL. And across from him, you have Caleb Williams, who is the most hyped quarterback of recent memory, rightfully so. A lot of talent there, but still unproven. Tyson Bagent, who had a little fling kind of sort of couple games last year.
He's a rookie. He really he was a rookie last year. He doesn't really have a track record long enough. He played okay.
He didn't play. He played to Justin Fields level, I feel like.
The secret Bagent.
The secret Bagent.
I feel like that's really... I feel like the Bears have a lot of...
Potential.
Young unproven guys, and that's the only thing that's going to hurt them in this. I think it's possible that CJ and Caleb play similarly next year.
That would be a big step for Caleb. Well, I mean, proving the haters wrong, proving the hype to be correct.
Sophomore slumps are a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see.
They got tape now.
CJ Williams, or not CJ Williams, CJ Stroud throwing for 4,000 yards. Caleb Williams has a great rookie year. I can see them evening each other out.
See, but I could.
The backups go just for lack of experience. I'd go with the Texans.
I feel like I've said this before, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it again. I feel like Houston has already prepped for CJ to have a little bit of a slump.
We'll get to that with the wide receivers.
I was gonna say not tremendously, but I do feel like that they they got a stud running back in Houston now to help him out a little bit, help to open up the passing game.
They have two stud running backs.
Yeah, I think that I think CJ might have a little, like, maybe a slight sophomore slump, but I don't think it's going to be massive like some of the other players that we've seen have.
I expect CJ Stroud to have 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. Anything less than that is a big slump for me. I expect that out of him. Yeah, I expect that. If you want to be a top 10 quarterback in this league, that's the bar. And I think
I feel like that's a pretty low bar for top 10.
To consistently have 4,025 touchdowns, you got to hit that bar time and time and time again if you're healthy. That
I think
to be the bar.
I think the 25 touchdowns, I think he'll be able to get that pretty easily. But I don't think he has to have 4,000 yards. I think that even if he has, like, let's say he throws for 3,700, if he throws for 3,700 this year, I would be happy with that. If I was a Texans fan.
If he had 3,800 yards and 35 touchdowns, I'll take it. You know, I'm like, okay, that was enough. But if he has 3,700 yards and 22 touchdowns, that's a slump.
Yeah,
that's a slump for me. He's got to have more. So
I think he will pass for more than 25 touchdowns this year, though.
So we're giving the Texans a 3-0 in the quarterback room. 3-0. All three across. I went position QB3 versus QB3, QB2 versus QB2, QB1 versus QB1. 3-0 across the board. And then running backs is the next up on the list. We have Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce from the Texans against DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson from the Bears. Now, I'm taking Joe Mixon over DeAndre Swift all day, every day. And I'm taking Dameon Pierce over Roschon Johnson. I'm taking Dameon Pierce over DeAndre Swift, partially because of the age thing. But I just think Dameon Pierce has a little more potential in him than Swift does. I'm not even going back to when he was in Detroit. I don't think he's as good as people thought he was.
I'm not looking at Dameon Pierce's stats right in front of me, but he is going into his third year in the league.
He's going into his third year. His rookie season, he had about 950 yards on the ground, and then they didn't use him much last year.
Yes, I think he got hurt too last year.
Yeah, he was hurt, and then they didn't really use him, which everybody was kind of surprised by because you had this like for instance, I traded Dameon Pierce before last season in a fantasy league, a dynasty league, for 2 first-round picks.
That's a swindle.
People thought he was going to be RB1. D'Amico Ryan's defensive head coach coming in and had 950 yards rookie year, like thinking, oh, this guy's going to be their bell cow back, and he got hurt, banged up, didn't really play. So he has the potential to be a 1,000-yard rusher. I don't know if Roschon Johnson has that same potential.
So, and we talked about this before the show, but let me say it for the people.
Yeah.
Roschon Johnson is listed as our running back 2 on ESPN. He is going into his second year. Our running back 3, Khalil Herbert, led the league in yards per carry last year. Showed some flashes, not as the number 1, but as the backup. If we're going Dameon Pierce or Roschon Johnson, I would go Dameon Pierce just because he has shown a little more. But I think if you look at the stats last year, Joe Mixon had a little more touchdowns, but their yardages were pretty much a draw.
Okay.
It'd be a coin flip for me there.
I mean, Spoon, what do you think? What do you think here?
So, whenever I hear that, I automatically think, okay, I'm going to take Joe Mixon over DeAndre Swift.
Yep.
It's the backup running back where I don't agree with either of you. I think Roschon. I think Roschon has shown like signs of explosiveness that is very.
It's not statistical.
It's not statistical because the thing is, no, listen, he doesn't get a whole lot of carries. He really doesn't.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like look at the amount of carries he gets, and I mean, he did more with the. I feel like he did way better with the amount of carries he had last year compared to what Dameon Pierce did last year. I know he was banged up, but still, in the games that he did play in, he didn't really do much either. He was hardly a factor.
You're a Texas fan, aren't you?
Yeah, but dude, okay. I am a Texas fan, but if you want to know, I had Dameon Pierce, his rookie year.
So you're a little spurned by him, huh?
No, I'm not spurned by him at all. I loved him. Thought he was freaking awesome.
I'm messing.
But after watching, and I'm just like, maybe I overhyped him a little bit after that one good year. And that's
I just feel like they didn't use him.
I just feel like that's what we're kind of doing. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I feel that's where I'm. I think it's like a split. I don't.
But he was also the running back. He was the running back 3 in Chicago behind Justin Fields and Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Roschon Johnson had 350 yards on 81 touches. Okay. To put him over a guy who's a proven guy of 950 yards, it seems wild to me. Potential or not, Dameon Pierce has shown he can go out there and be about 1,000-yard guy for a team. A bell cow, 1,000-yard rusher for a team.
He has shown that once.
But Roschon Johnson has never shown it. Now he's only had half the opportunity, right? He only had 1 year versus 2 years. Yeah. But Dameon Pierce has shown it. It's a fact. He can do it. I have a hard time putting a guy who has 81 touches over a guy who's proven he can do it. It's a big if.
Just because you get there once doesn't mean you can.
But that's like me saying Jordan Addison could reach Cooper Kupp's level because he had 10 touchdowns his rookie season. Like, it doesn't really add up. Like, it's not a proven thing. You need to prove it.
Is Darnell Mooney 1,000-yard wide receiver?
He's had 1,000 yards. Yeah.
He has not done it. He has not done it again in 4 years.
He has not done it again. He has not done it again, but he did it once. He proved he can be that guy.
And followed it up with 800 yards over 2 seasons.
Hey, that's true. I'm not saying he's going to do it. I'm saying
I am just giving the opposite side of your take.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are in the middle of June talking running back 2s right now, and I love it. We are debating running back 2 in the middle of June, and I love it. The end of June, middle of summer.
Man, when it comes to both those running back rooms, just to summarize it, I think it's a split for me. I don't think I really can't.
Good running back rooms.
Yeah, I can't pick one or the other here.
All right, so I put it down here as a tie. Okay, I gave starting to Joe Mixon, and I gave the backup to Roschon Johnson because even though I think that's wild, I'll give it.
I mean, you can make an argument for Swift over Joe Mixon too.
I don't.
If you wanted to, you could. Yeah, I'm not going to.
You could make an argument for.
You could make the argument.
Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady doesn't mean I'm right.
I think Swift is the more versatile of the backs. I think Mixon is more of a downhill runner than.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But he's just a better running back. All right, we're going to move on to wide receiver. This is going to take a lot longer than I thought. I thought we were going to blow right through this, and we're going to get into this. So strap up. Let's get going. Just settle in.
I'm excited to hear about.
Like, subscribe. Just give it a second. Just go do that right now. We'll wait. So, guys, just take a second. Take a second. All right, you do it? You sure you did it? If you didn't do it right now. Okay, you're done. All right, if you haven't done it by now, fuck off. So we're going to move on to wide receiver. I had wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 1. Stephon Diggs versus DJ Moore. I gave it to DJ Moore. Tank Dell versus Keenan Allen.
Hold on. You gave that to DJ Moore?
Yes. Due to age and similar skill level. If I was starting a team tomorrow, I'm taking DJ Moore, right?
Okay.
Like
that surprises me.
Similar skill level, and DJ Moore's younger.
Yep.
Tank Dell versus Keenan Allen. I'm taking Tank Dell because of similar reasons that I took DJ Moore, age and similar skill level. I know you don't like hearing it, Riley. Keenan Allen's great, but he's like 33 years old. Like he could absolutely go out and have 800 yards this year. He could go out and have 300 yards this year. He will hit a cliff eventually. Everybody, like, that's just father time. Mm-hmm. It could be this year. It could be 3 years. We don't know.
What is your expectations for Tank Dell next year? Give me a stat line.
Minimum, like anything less is a disappointment.
Kind of what you think he might get next year?
Somewhere between 800 and 1,200 yards, and somewhere between 6 to 12 touchdowns.
What makes you think he can get that many yards?
Before he got hurt, he was a number 1 receiver in the league. Like, he was showing, like, I am here. I am the number 1 in this offense. And that was before he got hurt, so it could be totally different. But I'm telling you what I expect from him, not what could happen.
Keenan Allen has more 1,000-yard seasons than Nico Collins and Tank Dell have years.
Yeah, but he's 33 years old, and he has a long injury history.
Coming off, didn't he have a career high in yards last year?
He had a career high in targets. I don't know if he had a career high in yards. They were targeting like 17 times a game. It was insane.
He had like 1,300 yards. I want to say it was.
Spoon, can you pull that up for us? Can you pull that up, Spoon?
Who? I'm sorry. I'm just confused. You have Tank Dell listed as the wide receiver 2?
Yeah.
Over
he was
Nico
their wide
Collins?
receiver. He was their wide receiver 1 before he got hurt. Nico Collins only busted out because Tank Dell got hurt.
Yeah, Nico Collins has not proven.
Nico Collins
looking at the stats.
Because Tank Dell was hurt.
Are you ready? Do you want to hear it?
Tank Dell was hurt.
Are you ready?
No, don't even go there because
I am going here.
This is so dumb.
I'm ready for it.
But he had 800 yards his first 2 years in the league. He's not a rookie. He's been around.
Yeah, he's been around. Nico Collins is going to be Nico Collins is going to be the best wide receiver 3 in the league next year. Don't get me wrong. He's a wide receiver 2 all day. But he only had those opportunities because Tank Dell got hurt. Tank Dell was the bona fide number 1. Tank Dell was the bona fide number 1 receiver, no question.
Okay.
All right, anyways. So Nico Collins versus Rome Odunze. I am taking Nico Collins on that one because Rome has yet to prove anything. Robert Woods versus Dante Pettis. I'm taking Robert Woods. And Noah Brown versus Tyler Scott. I'm taking Noah Brown.
I mean, there's not a whole lot. Those are both second-year guys.
There's not a whole lot there.
Pettis isn't, but it's his second year on the team, so I kind of see
Pettis is a former second-round pick, I think. He's pretty much a bust at this point. He was out of UW, Washington.
Yeah, he's a return guy for us.
Yeah. He's a return. Like if somebody gets hurt, like wide receiver 3 gets hurt, he might see some playing time type situation. But
hold on, he was Justin Fields number 2. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, his 3rd season in the NFL. Yeah, we'll get to that.
Throwing the busts.
All right. We'll talk rookie quarterback situations later. All right, we're sticking to the Texans Bears thing right now. Okay. So I gave it to the Texans 4-1 because I thought DJ Moore is better than Stephon Diggs. And I went based off if I'm building a team, who I'm taking, right?
The only argument I would have is if we are choosing the better roster, I would go off production next year. I think Keenan Allen will have better production than Tank Dell. That's really the only argument I would have.
If we're going wide receiver room though as a whole, then it immediately shifts back over to the Texans because they have Noah Brown, Robert Woods, and Nico Collins as their bottom 3. And your top 2 are similar, like they're very close, right? Mm-hmm. But the bottom 3 of the Texans is far superior to the bottom 3 of the Bears. Well,
I would take Robert Woods and Noah Brown as a wide receiver 3 on a lot of teams.
Exactly, and they're wide receiver 4 and 5 on this team.
I didn't even know that they were the 4 and 5 on this team.
3 and 4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4.
I will give you it, but I can't agree with the Tank Dell one yet.
That's fine. But we're going to give the wide receiver room to the Texans. We'll have it I'll change it to 3-2, 1-1, and 3-0. All right. So next up, we have tight end. I think the Bears sweep this. I think Cole Kmet's better than Dalton Schultz, and I think Gerald Everett is better than Dalton Keene. Sorry, I almost mispronounced his name. I think the Bears sweep this one. Don't think it's close for me. Do either of you disagree?
No, I think
I have the Bears winning that one too.
Yeah. So the Cole Kmet to Dalton Schultz one, that's a close one for me, but I think Cole Kmet takes it. I think Cole Kmet is underutilized, and I think he's a really good tight end. He's for fringe top 5 tight end. I wouldn't put him like bona fide top 5 guy yet. He's got to do a little more for me. But just because when you get to that top 5, when you get into the top 5, you're talking about the Travis Kelce's, the Mark Andrews, those guys, and to be their level, you have to do a little more than he's done, regardless of quarterback play.
I want to say he's been top 10 in tight end touchdowns the last 2 years. Whatever you want to say is quarterback play. And Gerald Everett, I want to say he had the most yards after a catch of any tight end last year. Like he was a good tight end.
No, he was the guy that Herbert would target in the red zone. He was a huge red zone guy for them. Had like 6 touchdowns or something. I think it was him.
I think Kmet is the red zone guy just because he's so much bigger.
Oh, let me take a look here. I'll pull the stats up.
Go for it.
But
we also signed the 1,000-year-old Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, but we're not talking tight end threes. We're not. We're sticking to top. Okay, we're sticking to contributors here, right? Like,
all right.
Let's see here. Yeah, he had 8.1 yards per reception. He had 3 touchdowns and 411 yards. So nothing crazy. 70 targets, 51 receptions. Yeah, I don't know either. But a good, solid tight end 2, really good blocker. He's very similar to a Mercedes Lewis build-wise. Mercedes is a little taller, but overall build, they're very similar. But let's move on to – we're done with that. We're going to move on to O-line. Laramie Tunsil versus Braxton Jones. I'm giving to Laramie Tunsil all day, left tackle. Kenyon Green versus Jenkins, the left guard. I'm giving Jenkins the win on that one. Juice Scruggs versus Coleman Shelton. Scruggs is getting it for me. He's a top 10 center in the league. Played phenomenal last year for a rookie center, or for a rookie quarterback.
The Bears need a center. That's going to be a position of need for us next year.
Yeah. So center goes to the Texans. Shaq Mason versus Nate Davis was hard for me. There's not really a statistical way to measure O-line. I gave it to Shaq Mason. It was close, but I like Shaq Mason in the run better than I like Nate Davis, and I like them both in the pass game equally. And then I gave Darnell Wright the win over Titus Howard at right tackle, giving the Texans a 3-2 win.
The only thing I would say, and this is a little more of a broad, 3 of the 5 starting Bears offensive linemen are on their rookie deals, which I think bodes well for them as far as continuing to improve, stuff like that. But as far as the right guard is really the toss-up, so it can go either way.
It could go either way. Like I said, it just came down to I like them both equally in the pass game. I like Shaq Mason's gritty run game better than I like Nate Davis's. So that's all it really comes down to. Anybody have any Spoon? You got anything to say about that one? No? Move on. All right, we'll move on to D-line. The Texans have a hole at D tackle. They don't really have a true oh shit, D tackle kind of situation.
The Bears have a hole at D line.
Yeah, the Bears. I gave Andrew Billings the D tackle spot here. Okay. I think he's the best D tackle on the team as far as run stopping, clogging holes, taking up bodies, which is what you need.
The D tackle 2 and 3 for us are both rookies who kind of
went
on and off at different times on the field.
But I gave the Texans both edges because I think Danielle Hunter is better than Montez Sweat. It was close, but I think he's better. And then Will Anderson over DeMarcus Walter. I don't think that one's close, and I hope you wouldn't argue too hard on that one. But
no, but and it backs up. I'm looking at I went through and kind of looked at the team statistics from last year.
Yeah.
The Bears were second to last in sacks, but I would like to go back and see what it was after the Montez Sweat trade.
Yeah, no, they definitely got better after that trade, and I know me and you went back and forth on Montez Sweat a little bit. I didn't think he was as good as he proved he was. I was wrong. He proved he's better than I thought he was. But Danielle Hunter, when healthy, is a top 5 pass rusher in this league, and I feel like Montez Sweat's a top 10. Spoon, if you disagree with that at all?
No.
All right, so I gave it to the Texans 2-1. Does that seem fair? Everybody good with that? All right, and then linebacker Aziz Ashir for the Texans, Tremaine Edwards for the Bears. Bears win in a landslide. This isn't close. We're not going to spend time on this. Bears win linebacker in a landslide.
I am curious. You went with Tremaine Edmonds over TJ Edwards?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Ooh. Okay.
I think that in the Bears line, if we did the whole linebacker rooms, it'd be a landslide. If we do top linebackers, it's a landslide. If we do top 2, it's a landslide. Bears win this, no question.
They like their linebackers.
They do. The cornerback room, the cornerbacks. So the 2 starting cornerbacks for each team. I had trouble with this one. This one was tough. This one was tough because you got Derek Stingley and Kamari Lassiter. Kamari Lassiter versus Jalen Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. And I think it's a draw. I think Jalen is better than Derek and Kamari is better than Tyreek. I think it's a draw.
I don't know. Tariq had a very nice rookie season. It was a rookie season.
Yeah.
I want to say he led all rookies in tackles. It may have just been secondary players, but he had like 80 tackles as a cornerback. So he's playing the run game too. If we're going the secondary as a whole, the Bears led the league in interceptions. I don't have that broken down by the corners or positions.
Yeah,
but
I'm going player by player here. You know, it's hard. Kamari Lassiter had 5 interceptions as a rookie. He had 0 last season though, but his targets were reduced by like 25%. So they weren't throwing at him as much. The Texans have a deep tackle hole. They're getting run on more. You know, it's hard. I give it a draw. I don't know.
Are you talking about Kamari Lassiter?
That's what I said. Kamari Lassiter.
He was just drafted this year.
Was he?
Yeah, he's a rookie. This is his rookie season coming up.
Was I looking at Derek Stingley?
I think you're probably.
Okay, I was probably
because I was confused. I'm like, wait, right now on the depth chart, it's showing Kamari Lassiter is it Jeff Okudah? Is that who you're trying to talk about?
Jeff Okudah.
Jeff Okudah is the
Maybe.
Right now. That's the other. That's the other starter.
But
it's showing right now for me because I was like, I thought Lassiter was he just got drafted.
Well, I fucked that up. So let's just give the Bears the cornerback room then. If that's the case, I'll give the Bears the cornerback room 2-0.
Well, I was gonna in favor of what you were saying. The only thing against Jalen Johnson is he doesn't really get the interception numbers.
But he doesn't get the targets. I'm not holding that.
Yeah,
Jalen Johnson's a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. We're not,
okay.
that's.
I never thought I'd get you to say that.
Wow.
I mean, I can admit when players are good. I just don't like them. Okay? I just like Jair Alexander, not a good cornerback. Most overhyped player in the fucking league. Jalen Johnson's a top 5 guy. Jair Alexander's a bona fide bust that gets all this hype for no fucking reason, and it makes me so mad. So, like, he routinely gets fucking chopped up by wide receiver 2s. Jordan Addison made him look like a bitch last season. Like this, like you can't be a top 3 corner like he claims he is and get chopped up by Jordan Addison on a Sunday at noon. Can't do it. End of story. Like it does. Like Jalen Johnson didn't get chopped up by Jordan Addison. I
feel like it's funny too because there's always somebody on the Packers roster that everybody just loves. They're always like, oh, he's a top corner. There's always some corner over there.
It's NFL media thing. The Packers and the Bears are the 2 NFL media darlings. The Bears are the biggest single market team in America, so they're always going to spotlight them in a positive way. The Packers are the golden child, golden boy of the NFL, so they're always going to positively stream them. I hate it. I'm the redheaded stepchild, and I hate it.
At least you're not Detroit.
Detroit's like not even looked at as like a kid. They're just like the cousin that comes over every once. They're like, "Hey guys, we're here," and we're all like,
"Go away!
Why are you here?"
Yeah,
no one invited you. We didn't even want you here. All right. Anyways, all right. So we're moving on to safety. You have Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie versus Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker. I gave this 2-0 to the Texans because I think Kevin Byard isn't as good as Jimmy Ward, and
Jimmy Ward's like 32.
I mean, he got all pro. He got all pro votes last season. Byard's not young. Byard's on his third team.
He ain't 32.
I think he's like 29, 29.
28. Yeah.
He's on his third team, though. No, that can't be.
It's on his second team.
No, he played for the Eagles. Played for the Titans and the Eagles and the Bears.
Jimmy Ward?
No, Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
I'm looking. 2016, he got drafted. Hold on, it's loading his stats up real quick. I'm still taking Jimmy Ward over him. I think Ward. I mean, he got all pro votes last season. He's 30.
Yeah,
Kevin Byard is 30-3. He's about to turn 31 in about a month and a half.
Okay,
for Tennessee and Philly.
Yeah, Tennessee, Philly, and now the Bears. So he's an older guy too. I'm taking Jimmy Ward. And then the safety 2 spot, it could be a toss up either way for me, but I like Jalen just. So what it comes down to for me is the ability to play in the box as a strong safety, and that's all it came down to. They're very similar. Neither of them has proven they're an elite level safety or anything
like
like
him
that.
in the box more than Jaquan Brisker?
I like his tackling ability in the box better. Brisker's better. Brisker is a better disguiser of his blitz packages and pursuit guy.
That's like Jaquan Brisker is a in the box safety. Like
both of them.
His big thing is he needs to improve in zone coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them are this. Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get me to say it because like Jaquan is one of the, I guess, young cores of the Bears roster.
Mm-hmm. He's a good player.
Through the entire like Fields era, he may have been drafted in the last year of the.
I mean, I'll give you a 1-1. I'll give you a 1-1.
Okay. All
right. And then next up, I had kickers. I went off kicking percentage here. I mean, it's really hard to go back and forth on kicker. Kamai Fairbairn had a 87.1 and Cairo Santos had an 85.6 career kicking percentage. So I took Fairbairn. Like it's hard. Like both stats were very similar. It came down to like, both 50-yard field goal percentages were similar. Both PAT percentages were similar. Like it wasn't really like a big difference. I would even be okay with a draw here. Like I'm not gonna
be fine with that because I feel like
what do you think?
Eddie Piñeiro's a good kicker. I think they're both good kickers.
Yeah. We're talking about the kickers. This one was tough. Because I was kind of looking ahead, I was letting you guys decide who won the safety because I don't really pay attention to the safeties. I'm more of a corner type guy myself. So I was looking ahead to the kickers, and man, I don't know which one to pick here. I would call it a draw as well.
All right, we'll call it a draw. It's a draw. 1-1.
Yep.
Because realistically, I would take either one.
And then D'Amico Ryans over Matt Eberflus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
I was waiting for that to come up, and I'm just like, I'm taking as soon as you said every position that we were going for, like going over, and you ended on coach, I'm like, Texans got that one in the bag.
I think that's very fluid. I think Eberflus can win Coach of the Year this year. I think the Texans can have a bad year. I mean, we've only seen 1 year of D'Amico Ryans. I know I was calling for Eberflus to be fired. Probably should have been. But I think that if he has a good year this year, people are going to be talking about him as a Coach of the Year candidate.
Yeah, you're going to be calling for his job again in November. We both know it. You saw the way he coached Justin Fields. This is, in my opinion,
he was not coaching Fields.
That's part of the problem.
Yes,
and part of the problem.
As a head coach, agree with that.
As a head coach with your quarterback, it's the reason Mike Zimmer got fired from the Vikings. He didn't even hold meetings with Kirk Cousins. Kirk had to go to him and be like, "Hey, can we meet?" And Zimmer would be like, "Meh, maybe next week." Like you have to have that QB coach connection and that like symmetry there. Like look at what John Harbaugh does in Baltimore, right? Like he, no matter who his quarterback was, he's a defensive guy. No matter who his quarterback is, he has a good connection. He sits down with them. He talks with them. He builds the team around them because he knows he has to have that connection with his quarterback.
But that is, I think, Flus is looked very highly upon in the locker room. I just don't know. I don't know how much time he spends with the quarterback specifically.
Yeah.
But maybe with this new OC Seattle guy who's Shane Waldron.
Yeah, Shane Waldron.
Maybe he creates that relationship, makes Caleb better.
Who knows?
But if Flus gets to the playoffs, he's going to get the credit for taking the rookie quarterback to the playoffs.
Yep.
I think that gets the media ball rolling. And
so I just counted these up, right?
Yep.
So we have a winner, okay? We agree on all of this. We have agreed that this is, I feel like you gave a little, I gave a little, if there was a one you were pretty stern on, I was like, yeah, I'll give that one to you, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like are we good with is there anything anybody wants to add before I reveal which roster wins the matchup?
No.
All right. So the Houston Texans come out with 14 points. They got 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
The Chicago Bears ended with 12 points.
Ooh.
12 points. So it was close.
Yes.
And it was closer than I had it.
Okay.
I had it.
That's what I was.
I had it at 19-8. That was my original count, 19-8. Ended up being 14-12 after I gave on some of them because, you know, I'm not stern on this. I'm willing to negotiate.
And I may have misspoke a little bit when I made the comment, but the rosters are a lot closer than people are giving it credit for.
All right.
In my opinion.
Well, we will see this season as both teams will play a full 18-week schedule, so we'll get to see just how everything shakes out.
Yes.
And if you haven't, go over to our channel and watch our schedule preview. We are breaking down the entire 18-week schedule over the course of the offseason. We are on weeks 7 and 8 this week, I believe we'll be breaking down. So we have weeks 1 through 6 done already, and we'll do it all the way up until the end of the season. And then when the end of the season hits, we'll have a schedule prediction for y'all. But right now, we are going to jump over to our other main topic of conversation for this episode, the top 10 NFL rookie quarterbacks situations coming into the NFL. And that is capping it at draft pick number 12. So if you're drafted between 1 and 12, okay, 1 and 12, so your team had to not be really good, right? Like you couldn't come into the NFL on a 13-win team, right? Most of the time. There are a few guys on here who came into really good teams. Obviously, all these guys came into great situations. But top 12 pick, top 10 NFL rookie quarterback situations. They didn't have to play their rookie season. This is not who had the best rookie season. This is who had the best situation their rookie year and who came into the league with the best situations. Not who performed the best. That's a whole different thing. We're not going over that. And I swear to God, if I see in the comments, well, this guy had a better rookie season than this guy. That's not what we're talking about. Go to a different video. All right. So I'd like to give out two honorable mentions. Spoon, you know one of them.
I do.
Would you like to shout it out?
Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott's my first honorable mention. Came in for Tony Romo on a Cowboys team that was already in playoff games, in playoff contention year after year. At the end of Jason Garrett's career, good teams. Not great teams, good teams.
I was just saying, he wasn't drafted in the top 12 though, right?
No, he wasn't. That's why he's an honorable mention.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Not on the list. Okay. And then Aaron Rodgers. Yeah,
that's a pretty good situation.
Came in to back up Brett Favre, and now a lot of people be like, but Brett Favre hated him. He still got to sit and learn under Brett Favre. Like, if you got to just hang out with Brett Favre every day, even if he hated you, you would pick up on a few things. So, all right. So we're moving on to the actual list. You had to be drafted in the top 12, and you just had to, just your surroundings for your rookie season. Riley, I think you're going to like this number 10 pick. I have Jay Cutler in 2006 for the Denver Broncos. They had Javon Walker, 1,000-yard receiver, Tatum Bell, 1,000-yard rusher, young Brandon Marshall, a top 10 scoring defense, number 8th in the league, and they had some pretty good defensive guys, including Champ Bailey, who had 10 interceptions that season. 10.
So, just because I love Brandon Marshall, he is the only player who leads 2 franchises in receptions in a game.
Is he really?
For the Bears
and the Broncos.
Yes. And he has the league record for receptions in a game.
That's cool.
I didn't know that. 22 or something nuts.
I felt like you'd like that one.
Oh, yeah. No, I like that.
So, number 9, I have Phillip Rivers, 04 Chargers. Obviously, LaDainian Tomlinson on that team. He had 1,300 rushing yards, over 400 receiving yards, 17 rushing touchdowns, and 21 total TDs. You had Antonio Gates on that team, the 11th overall scoring defense. They had the number 3 overall rushing defense that year. So a pretty good team around him, right? You had so you had some really good talent. Now, Drew Brees did start that season. Remember, we're not talking about who started and played the best. So he got to sit under Drew Brees, a veteran who obviously went on to win Super Bowls, went on to have multiple 5,000-yard seasons. So he got to sit and learn under Brees for a season. He only started like 2 games that year. So all part of his situation, right? He came into a great situation and he prospered because of it. Number 8 is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow came in. His wide receiver trio, his rookie year was T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and A.J. Green. Now, an old A.J. Green, but A.J. Green nonetheless, another locker room guy that you get to sit, you get to learn under. He came in with Joe Mixon on the team. Joe Mixon wasn't Joe Mixon yet. He was still, second-year guy, third-year guy. But just that whole situation, getting to learn under those players. He got hurt in his rookie year, didn't play the whole thing. But just getting to be in the locker room with a guy like A.J. Green, of all people, who had, had several 1,000-yard seasons, was a vet, can't do anything but help you. Can't do anything but help you. Number 7, I have Matthew Stafford. And I know this sounds crazy. But he's got to be on the list.
He had Calvin Johnson, dude.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson, bro. You have Calvin Johnson, you're getting on this list. The rest of that team, Cliff Averill was the next best player on that team, and it was a young Cliff Averill before he went to the Hawks and won Super Bowls. But Super Bowl, I should say, actually. Sorry, Seattle fans. But it's a sore spot for them, and I apologize. That's because rude of me. But Matthew Stafford, he came in. You get to play with a top 3, top 4 wide receiver all time. You make the list. So number 6, Riley, and you might not agree with this, but I remember the hype the Bears would get year after year after year after year with this guy. And every year they would go, this is the year. He has no excuses if he doesn't do it this year. And then he wouldn't do it, and people would lay out the excuses for him every single time. And that is Justin Fields. Every single time.
What?
They'd be like, listen, this guy, he's got all the tools, hear me out. So let me list off. Let me list off who he was. Let me list it off, okay? So he had David Montgomery, led the league in touchdowns last season. He had Allen Robinson, but not with the Bears, but a running back who's capable of leading the league in touchdowns.
Okay. Just because you do it once doesn't mean you're going. It
doesn't mean you're going to do it again.
Did he ever have double-digit touchdowns with the Bears?
Did he ever get the amount of work he got last year with the Bears? No, he didn't. Exactly. You didn't use him right. That doesn't mean he wasn't the same quality of player.
Didn't use him right.
Yeah, you didn't use him like Detroit uses him.
Yeah, they didn't use Justin Fields right. That doesn't mean he's in the best situation. You used to sit there and trash David Montgomery.
I never trashed David Montgomery.
Yes, I will go back the years through our text messages.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it. Please do. Please do, because I have no recollection. David Montgomery's never come into my mind once until this season.
You're not going to sit there and tell me Justin Fields had the 6th best start.
He had the 6th best situation. This is not the 6th best start.
Not even close. You're
already doing the thing that I'm telling people not to do. This is not how he performed.
I said that you're saying he had the 6th best situation. This is
the talent around him. He had a lot of talent around him. That's what this is about.
He did not.
He had a guy who was capable of leading the league in touchdowns. He had Allen Robinson, who was coming off a 1,000-yard season. He had Darnell Mooney, who put up 1,000 yards that season. Okay, we're talking about that season's version of Darnell Mooney. He had Cole Kmet, Marquise Goodwin, and Jimmy Graham. All 3 guys who were great in the locker room. Jimmy Graham, it would be a legend at that point, and to have him in the
locker room. What does that do out on the field? Jimmy Graham was 35. Cole Kmet was a rookie.
I'm saying, but it's the same as AJ Green for Joe Burrow. It's the same thing as AJ Green for Joe Burrow, and you didn't have a problem with that.
I did have a problem with that. You didn't give me time. People were saying Joe Burrow shouldn't go to Cincinnati. They were telling him to pull up or Drew Eli Manning and not go to Cincinnati.
I don't remember that.
3-win 10.
Spoon, do you remember that?
Jamar Chase.
I don't remember.
Jamar Chase came the next year.
Yes, he was not there. AJ Green was not a performer. He got hurt because their O-line. Didn't he leave the league in sacks? They had a god-awful
Joe Burrow, they did have a god-awful offensive line when he got drafted. But anyways, we're past him. We're on Justin Fields, okay?
Yes.
And then I wanted to put Matt Nagy on here, but I couldn't because of what
he's garbage.
Did. Yeah, what he actually did. Like before the season started, it was Matt Nagy, the quarterback whisperer. He's an Andy Reid guy. He can make Justin Fields in it. It didn't pan out that way. And anyways,
he's my number 6. Patrick Mahomes.
He is my number 6 guy. Bottom line, okay. Number 5. A little bit of a homer take, but I have JJ McCarthy. You're coming into the league with JJ, okay, best wide receiver in the NFL. Jordan Addison, who just put up almost 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns with Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and God knows who throwing him the football for half the season last year. And you have TJ Hawkinson, who's a top 5 tight end. They had a top 12 defense last season, and Kevin O'Connell is one of the probably 5 best offensive coaches and 10 to 15 best overall coaches in the NFL. I'm not going to put him at, the top 10 straight up head coach, but he's, kind of in that range. But I feel like that situation is very, very, very good. You have probably the best tackle duo, if not best, second best maybe in the entire league. The only real question marks on our offense are left guard and quarterback because Sam Darnold's currently our starter. But nonetheless, you have a lot of talent around him. Great situation to come into. And then next up, we have Matt Leinart, 06, Arizona Cardinals. He had the receiving duo of Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. And we're talking young Anquan Bolden that set the rookie receiving record. So, really good Anquan Bolden. He had Edgerrin James, who had over 1,100 yards on the ground, and he was being backed up by Kurt Warner that season. So he had Kurt Warner in his ear the entire season, coaching him through it. He ended up getting benched still. He did play and got benched for Warner. But as far as situations to come into, that's an all-timer. Like to have those two plus Kurt Warner in your ear all the time, plus a running back like Edgerrin James, just an all-time situation for me. Number 3, I have Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams this year has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. He has Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett's kind of a meh, but he's a good, solid guy to learn from and have in the huddle. He's a solid vet who's going to not let Caleb get... Caleb, I feel like, has the perception he's a little too emotional from people, and I feel like having a guy like Gerald Everett in the huddle who's done it so long and done it so well kind of help calm those nerves a little bit. I feel like that's why they went out and got him. DeAndre Swift, another solid starter. And then Montez Sweat on the defense. Obviously, we talked about it earlier in the video. He's proven to me that he's more than I thought he was. And he played really well last season. And then number 1 and number 2 were hard for me. Okay, so I'm gonna give you number 1 and number 2 at the same time. I want you guys to tell me who you think got the better situation. Okay.
Well, can I guess 2? Can we try to guess who they are?
Yeah, go for it. Try to guess 1 or 2.
Is Andrew Luck one of them?
Nope.
Really?
I would have to go back and look at when he's drafted, but Trey Lance?
Nope.
Is Cam Newton one of them?
Nope.
Those are the only 2 that came to mind. Although they had pretty good setups, both of them. All right, go ahead.
I go ahead? All right. So at one of the 2 spots, they may be in order, they may not be in order. You don't know. One of the 2 spots, I have Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes came in. He had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. His rookie season, he didn't play, but he had Alex Smith, who was a seasoned vet over 10 years in the NFL at that point and was leading the Chiefs to AFC championship games. He had Kareem Hunt, who led the league in rushing yards that season, and a top 15 defense on that team. So, I mean, that is an all-time great situation to walk into if you're Patrick Mahomes. And it showed because the next season he put up 5,000 yards. So, you can't get any more, right? Like, that's an all-time situation. And then the other guy I had in the top 2 is Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper had a very, very similar situation. He didn't start his rookie year. That was 1999. He came in with Randy Moss, Chris Carter, a team fresh off the NFC Championship game that lost to the Falcons on a field goal by a field goal kicker who hadn't missed a field goal in over 2 years. So that still hurts. He had Dennis Green. He He had Robert Smith, who was coming off 1,400 yards rushing, and the team had the highest scoring offense in NFL history in 1998. So until 2007, the team he inherited was the highest scoring offense of all time. So as far as positions to walk into as a rookie quarterback coming into the offense that just set the all-time scoring record, I feel like that's as good as it could possibly get.
It's not bad.
So, who do you guys think is who number one? Who do you guys think is number two? I'll let you guys pick, and I'll let you know who I took.
So when both situations are that good, I feel like I am forced to look at their play, their first start,
No. You can't look at that.
Because what's the point in having a good situation if that doesn't help you perform?
That's not what this list is about. This list is about who had the best situation their rookie season. It is completely disregarding anything past that.
We're not talking about the situation that allowed 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns is better than the situation that did not allow that.
But we're not. But that's the player and what they did with the situation, not the situation itself. Otherwise, a guy like Matt Leinart isn't on this list at all. Like, we're talking about the situation, their rookie season. That is it. So keep that in mind. Don't put any weight in what they did with it. Put the weight in what they had their rookie season. I mean,
honestly, looking now, like
I had such a hard time with this.
I mean, Travis Kelce's arguably one of the best tight ends to ever play the game right now.
I agree completely. He's top two.
That's a pretty good tight end to get paired up with, you know?
He had a...
And I mean, Tyreek...
Oops, sorry. Continue.
I was going to say, Tyreek is... I mean, if he keeps going the way he is, I mean, he might be what?
He's a Hall of Famer already.
He already is a Hall of Famer. I'm
saying
he might be
already.
He could arguably be top 5 all time right now.
He's top 10.
He's getting up there. Top 10.
He's got to do this for another 3 or 4 years. He's got to do another 3 or 4 years of this, and then we can talk all time.
But I mean, that's still, you're getting paired up with a top 10 receiver all time, and arguably the best tight end of all time. It doesn't get much better than that.
Arguably the best head coach of all time.
Yeah, one top 3 head coach ever, in my opinion. Dante got Randy Moss, top 3 receiver all time, and Chris Carter, probably the best pure hands of all time. 1,000-yard guy every year that he started majority of the games, and a 1,400-yard running back, similar to Pat, who had Kareem Hunt in getting him as the league's leading rusher. I mean, these are such similar situations, and they both got 10-year deals off their first contract. Now, Dante Culpepper tore his knee up and never was. This was before ACLs were just another injury. He tore his knee up and never played good again. He went to the Dolphins and bummed out of the league because he couldn't stand. So,
what year? This is completely unrelated. I just went down a rabbit hole there. What year did Jamal Charles retire? Did he ever play with Mahomes?
2016? No. He was in Denver before Mahomes got there.
Yeah.
He went to Denver after Kansas City. So, Spoon, you didn't give me your 1 and 2. Riley, I think you have decided that Mahomes is your 1 and Dante's your 2.
I'd probably go Mahomes as my 1.
Okay, I took Dante as my 1. I understand. That's why I let you guys decide, because I didn't want to just be straight up Homer on the show. I didn't want the show to just be straight up Homer take. But I'd take Randy Moss over Tyreek Hill. I would take Chris Carter over Travis Kelce as a weapon. And then Robert Smith over Kareem Hunt, Andy Reid over Dennis Green. But inheriting the greatest offense of all time, he inherited the greatest offense of all time. That's the best situation you can possibly have. So, but, if you guys at home want to, let us know down in the comments what you think, and anybody we left off the list, because I'm sure I left tons of people off this list. I went through all sorts of different lists, all sorts of different references, all sorts of different websites, just trying to find dudes that had good situations. Leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. There's a little subscribe button over here in the corner. Just go down there and hit that. Give us a little love. We love doing this. We love getting to talk football. And if you love getting to talk football as much as we do, we would love to continue to do this. So all it takes is a button, little click, 2 little clicks, subscribe, And if you want to talk to us, we will respond back to almost every comment. We'll either like it, respond to it, something. We will interact with your comment. I promise. Just give us a little something. We'll give it back to you. Other than that, either you got anything you want to say?
Nope.
I don't think so.
I'm good.
All right. Well, we are going to be breaking down week 7 and week 8 this week on our other video. So go ahead and head over to that. That'll be out on Friday, June 28th. Go ahead and hit that up. If it's not yet Friday, June 28th, make sure to look out for that. And we will see y'all next week.
Peace.